Hey everybody, I'm Jennifer. Today in my kitchen we are making homemade apple crumble pie. I'm so excited. Thanksgiving is only a week away, so I wanted to be sure to show you one of my favorite apple pie recipes, and it's really pretty easy. We're going to make a simple sauce, we're going to make a crumble. It's going to be great. It's going to be so much better than store-bought apple pie. Everyone's going to be so impressed. Oh my god, you made apple pie from scratch. I think you guys are going to love this recipe. It's one of my favorites, so let's get started. The first thing you'll need for this recipe is a bottom pie crust. So I just made some of my favorite pie crusts. I've got an older video that shows you how to make it, and I'll link that in the description down below, but just something really easy. You could also get it from the store if you want to save some time. So I just used my favorite pie crust, rolled it out, and pressed it into a 9-inch pie plate. The ingredients you'll need for this apple pie filling are 3 apples, and I'm using Granny Smith apples, half a cup of white sugar and half a cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1 stick of unsalted butter, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a dash of nutmeg, and I'm using whole nutmeg, and then you'll also need 3 tablespoons of water. We're going to melt the butter in a large saute pan over medium heat. Now we're going to add our flour. Just give this a good whisk. We're going to make a paste with this. Now that we've let that cook for just a minute to cook out that flour and stirred it, we're going to add our water, our sugar, our vanilla, our teaspoon of cinnamon. Now we're going to whisk this together. I'm also going to add my pinch of nutmeg. Now I've mixed everything together and we're just going to let this simmer for a couple minutes on low. So now it's time to move on to the apples. I've got my Granny Smith apples and I just cut them into about a little bit thinner than 1/4-inch slices, and I just peeled, cored, and sliced them. Now we're going to pour a beautiful sauce over our apples. Now we're just going to mix the apples with the sauce. Now I've got my pie dish. I just kept it in the fridge while I was preparing the filling. Now we're going to pour our apples into our pie plate. Now we're just going to spread out the apples evenly. Now it's time to get started on our crumb topping. To make our crumble, I've got 4 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. I'm going to add half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of flour, half a cup of quick cooking oats, 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of cinnamon, and a pinch of salt, or you can use salted butter. Now we're just going to mix this together. All done. Now we're just going to sprinkle our crumble all over the top of our pie. We are now ready for the oven. All right, apple pie is ready to go into the oven. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees. Got my apple pie on a baking sheet just in case anything runs over. It probably won't, but just in case. So we're gonna bake this for about 45 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. You just want to make sure it's golden brown, and we want to give the apples time to tenderize. I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's finished. So our apple pie was baked, cooled, and now I cut it into a nice big slice. My pie baked for about 55 minutes. It took longer for my apples to tenderize, so just make sure it's better to leave your pie in longer than not enough time, because you want to make sure that your apples tenderize. I cut myself a big slice and topped it with some homemade whipped cream, and we are ready to eat. I am covered in sugar and butter and flour. That's okay, we've got pie, we're ready to eat. As you can see, I cut myself a nice modest slice. Oh my gosh. Those apples bake in that sauce, and they are so good. You guys are going to love this pie. This is such perfect Thanksgiving food. So there'll be a link down below to the website that I have, and it's going to show you the recipe with the ingredient quantities and the baking times. Thank you guys for spending time with me. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time.